Hello, everybody. Today I will be reviewing Scythe by Mr. Neal Shusterman. I did not go into this book expecting that I would like it, and I have been pleasantly surprised. It's basically about this concept of humanity's death, humans becoming immortal, that death has been cured. And you have these group of people called Scythes that are actively, let's say, and they call it gleaning, to pick humans to die as a form of population control. So right from the start, right from the jump, surprisingly, I'm going to give this book a 4 out of 5 stars. I pleasantly enjoyed this. You should read this if you want an easy read with a very interesting and engaging science fiction concept that has some straightforward moral dilemmas that are still engaging, but kind of written in a straightforward popcorn movie style manner. If that's a vibe that's sounding good to you, like not something super deep, but some cool concept, a really cool concept, well done, well executed, that makes that there's room for like these moral dilemmas, this is going to be a good book for you. It is considered YA, which in its structure, you're going to see you should have low expectations when it comes to the structure in terms of like how the characters develop and these kinds of things. That in this kind of idea, it is YA. So in that sense, go with what kind of lower expectations. I have seen some people like not really like this book because of that. But I would say if you kind of go in with low expectations, you're going to really enjoy this book. And so we can go into the strongest aspect of this book, which for me was the impact, thought-provokingness, concept / prose. It's all one category. And for me, out of 5 stars, I give that 4.5. The concept was really well executed and really interesting and really engaging. This idea, I think I've seen a lot of books and a lot of movies do this, but it did it in this way, which was very engaging and interesting. And the fact, this moral dilemma of what it would do to humans if, immortality was cured and there was a society that was formed to keep killing people. Like, this concept was really well done, and it kept me guessing and really interested in like the culture, the world building. Like, these things were really well executed, and I even found myself like the Scythe were like very mysterious and what do they do, and then you realize, oh, okay, the human problem and the human inevitability of behavior is still rampant. So this concept was really cool and had me really engaged. And actually the writing is very straightforward, but it's not to the point where it's going to be it's not going to be so straightforward that it's not engaging. I would say it's straightforward in terms of its pace, like keeping it action-packed. So, like, for example, I have one quote here. "An apology isn't necessary. It's refreshing to be challenged. You have no idea how tedious it gets. The pandering, the obsequious flattery, the endless parade of sycophants. A slap in the face is bracing. It reminds me that I'm human. You felt some, but just a shadow of what it can be. Without the threat of suffering, we can't experience true joy. The best we can get is pleasantness." So this kind of rapid, straightforward style of writing, it's not going to be the best writing. It's not going to be like your Name of the Wind or some hard science fiction writing. But sometimes you just want to watch a movie that's good, has good enough characters, a good enough plot, and a great concept, and a good enough plot. So in this sense, I think the author did a good job, and I will definitely continue the series. It's definitely a great palate cleanser if you've been reading a lot of crazy, big, high fantasy reads. It's a great way to, or if you want to introduce someone to science fiction, this is a great read to give to your kids, especially your teenagers. It is very violent, so maybe not super young, but for this sense, it's a great read. The other category that scored very high was the category of fun. Like, this is we have fun, world building, impact, which includes thought-provokingness, prose, and world building, plot, and characters. And you read to enjoy. Not all books, but in the general sense of science fiction and fantasy, absolutely. And with this book, you're going to have a lot of fun. It was 432 pages roughly, and I read this in like 2 to 3 days. So super fast, super straightforward. The pacing is great. So you're going to have a lot of fun. It's action packed. There's actually a couple twists that, based on the shallowness of the structure, like the YA kind of aspects, that can throw some people off. I didn't think, I was still super engaged. And again, the world building and the concept are really well done. And this moral dilemma, without going super deep into it and being super obscure or super abstract, in this moral dilemma of what does it mean for humans to not be able to die anymore, and having a group of humans who choose who to die as a means of population control. Like, these things kind of rubbing against each other are really, really engaging and fun. And you do have some flat or very black and white characters in terms of good and bad, but it's not so out of balance where you're like, it's just good and evil, right? So in this sense, it's dope. It's well done. This is a great popcorn book with meaning. The next book, the next highest category, is world building, and not to like repeat things a million times, but again, the concept, sometimes science fiction does really well with the concept, but not with the world building. And I think these two go well enough together that you're going to have a good time diving into the world. Like, for science fiction, I'm always hyper engaged when I'm learning like culture, language, how these societies interact with each other, good or bad ways. And with this concept, it does that really well. So it got 4 out of 5 stars. Again, 4 stars is like really good, great. And so you don't need the most advanced prose to be a really good book that someone can enjoy, right? Sometimes we all have movies or books that do well for us. Then we have plot, which is 3.75 stars out of 4. And again, there is some YA-ness to the plot, which can definitely, the ending can be kind of a miss for a lot of people, I think. I could see that. I was a little bit disappointed with the ending, just based on that YA kind of structure, or that typical, structure that can get annoying, that you've read a million times in a dystopian book. So it does have that, but I would say until the end, the way that the plot revolves around the concepts, again, keeping the moral dilemmas interesting and a part of the plot, a part of the character building, the part of the character interactions, right and wrong, this keeps the plot fun and engaging enough that you're going to want to read this quite quickly to see how it ends. And then lastly, for characters, it's definitely the weakest category. I only gave it 3.5 out of 5 just because the characters were pretty flat. Nothing really of surprising nature. I always say that you read books for the characters first, with the exception of science fiction. I think sometimes the science fiction can get away with a good enough concept. Children of Time, some books like that can do really well for people. So the characters aren't badly written. It's just pretty cut and dry, standard YA-ish. There is a little bit of a romance that you hate in your dystopian novel. Hate to see it, but it doesn't throw you off so badly that it's gonna get you out of the book necessarily. But maybe not for your hardcore science fiction people or hardcore high fantasy people. This book might not be for you. But otherwise, yeah, I liked the two main protagonists and the mentors and these kinds of things. Engaging. Like, this is a good book. It's really well written. I have heard a lot of negative things about the future books, which is very sad. I hope the author stays on this theme. This theme is the best. This theme is really well done. and having read so many dystopian books, that this book surprised me or kept me engaged was really cool to see. So yeah, overall 4 out of 5 stars. I got, again, if you want something interesting with cool concept, meaningful dilemmas, moral dilemmas, action-packed, gonna get you thinking, gonna keep you reading, this is definitely a really great book for you to pick up. So yeah, 4 out of 5 stars. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. So yeah.